Okay, hello guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz with Robinson. And I have another review today, and it is going to be on the Japanese Tier 2 medium tank. It is going to be on the Chini, and it's an interesting tank. Um, one, the design is actually very interesting. See, normally the turret on the tank is where most of the armor is, correct, guys? But no, on this tank, the turret is where the weakest armor is, and the hull is where the strongest armor is. Like, actually, I believe all of the tier 1 to 4 Japanese tanks, I believe. So that's where you aim at these tanks if you are going to shoot them, trying to destroy them. Which I think you should if they're on the enemy team, but, up to you. So, let's get into the stats, alright? So, this gun has a tier 2 gun, and technically, yes, you could also use the autoloader. And normally, in these circumstances, I'd be showing you one battle of the standard gun, or two battles of each standard gun, whatever. But I don't want to show you this autoloader because it's horrible, alright? It's horrible. So I'm just going to do a review on this top gun. It has 9.38 rounds per minute, which is pretty good. 30 millimeters of penetration, which is pretty atrocious. Actually, it's tier 2, so it's pretty bad. 55 with heat, which is not any better. But 28 with high explosive, that's only 2 less than 8 armor pierce ammunition. Very nice. That's why I really like to use a lot of high explosive ammo. An average damage of 90 and 110 with high explosive, which is great because with 110 average damage with high explosive, it's basically like firing normal rounds, except you have a tiny bit less penetration, and if you don't penetrate, you'll still pretty much always do some damage. So very nice. Aiming time is 2.1 seconds, not the best, but it is a 57mm gun at tier 2. So, yeah, deal with it. The engine, it's a slow tank. It's a pretty slow tank. Power to weight ratio is not very good. It's a slow tank. So the turret, as I mentioned before, this is the weak spot. This is where you shoot these tanks in the turret, not in the hull. Now that applies to most people with an autoloader or an autocannon at low tier because they usually have very bad penetration. But it's still something good that you should know. 280 hit points, not too shabby. Jeez, it's so annoying. I hate Android phones sometimes. Anyway, so that was the official review part of this video. Now let's get on to some gameplay, alright? Okay, so for our first battle, and as I mentioned before, both of these battles will be using the 57mm, I guess you kind of call it a derp gun at this tier. Just because the autoloader is absolutely, crap, so I don't really want to game in that. Besides, these guns are what this tank is good for, right? So anyway, this tank is not the fastest tank, but in low tier battle, a lot of times the enemy team will be too stupid to take the hill. So I'm like, I might as well pop speed boost and try and get up there. But you can see it's, 20 kilometers an hour. It's definitely not the fastest, right? Oops, sorry about that, guys. And, sorry, there's not going to be any volume in these two replays, just because, well, I forgot to turn my volume on. So, yeah, sorry about that, guys. But, anyway, so, back onto the replay. I know that I have to take out this BT-7 because he's going to be a major threat up there surrounding the BT-7. But you see the penetration, this gun really even penetrate the front of the BT-7. So, yeah, that's what you have to get used to with these large caliber guns at low tiers, unless they're on a tank destroyer such as the Marder 2. But that's German, right? German in the penetration. So, that shot goes into the, oh, excuse me. That shot goes into the rock, so that's not very good. But these high explosive rounds have very decent penetration. So, anyway, but any high explosive round will be able to penetrate the front of the T-82. So there we go, take off almost half his health. Actually, yeah, half his health is very good. But you see, I can penetrate the side of this guy. Except, of course it goes into the tracks and does absolutely no damage. But, whatever, alright. So, anyway, and now I just finish him off. And move on to this empty medium. And now is the point where I realize, oh wait, these high explosive anti-tank shells, sorry, high explosive rounds have very decent penetration. I'll try them out. And yeah, they work. I think so. That guy's not too healthy anymore. So unfortunately, I do not get granted the kill on that T7 car, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm looking at this T2 medium like, alright, who needs to aim, right? Who aims? Aiming is for noobs, alright, guys? Aiming is for noobs. So anyway, once that thing is done with, I put a shot into him. Don't believe I do full damage there because it hits his slanted back area, the rear of his tank. So I don't, obviously don't do full damage. But there's no way I can one-shot him, even with high explosives. I pop adrenaline, I'm hoping, but the M2 medium is able to finish him off. So that was a good game, average kind of, maybe a bit on damage-wise, a little bit on the upper end. But if you play it well, you should be able to get this amount of damage fairly easily. But don't forget, that's also because I was firing high explosive a lot, since it has very good penetration. So, you know. And this was the first battle I played in this tank after update 2.10 came out, so I did get the double bonus for credit, so I got some nice credits there. And, okay, why don't we move on to the next battle? Okay, so this time we're top tier on Copperfield. I'm just rubbing my hands in glee. But, now, a lot of times, what I find is that, okay, a lot of you, unless you're in a higher tier battle, like, if you're a tier 9 tank and there's tier 7s on the enemy team, obviously that won't happen anymore, but if there were, you'd be like, ooh, yummy, I can do a lot more damage now than I could have. That's true. But in low tier battle, hit points differ so much from different tiers, it's really hard to do the same amount of damage you can do in a tier 3 battle in this tank than it is if you do in a tier 2 battle with tier 1s on each side. So that's just something to keep in mind about low tier battles. And I just want to say this again. I do not seal club all the time. I'm just trying to put out all these reviews to try and show you guys how to deal with these tanks, how to use them. And also, I like going back and just learning how to play these tanks again. I'm not, so anyway, back to the battle. I'm too worried about the T7 car. He has horrible penetration. But the T18, he's a problem. I should have loaded high explosives for that, but it doesn't heat, so it doesn't like sloped angles, so it does not penetrate his tank. So I see on the minimap that he's flanking us, but I shoot him 1 millisecond too late, and my friendly team guarantees the kill on him. So, as T18 comes around, I'm not too worried about the T7 car, he's not the threat. Bounce again off the sloped armor of the T18, that sucks. So T7 car is shooting at me, but I know that this guy's the main threat. Set him on fire, that's very nice. Hopefully he bounces his shot, will he? No. Sorry, guys. Sorry about the lighting, guys, that's just my battery's a little low. Nice shot into him, it's a very nice shot. But as you can see, I'm having trouble penetrating the front of his tank with armor piercing. Very weird. Sorry, guys, hold on, let me just increase the brightness, alright? There. Okay. So now I'm thinking about going down to cap to find the cap, but I realized then, no, that's not a good idea. I could be shot from above. So I just back there to see if they're actually on the other end, but they're not. So I'm going back to try and kill this BT2 to try and save our Cruiser 3, because he's getting shot at in a crossfire. Oh, that won't go away. Alright, never mind. Yes, it does. So this Panzer II, he's there, but auto aim takes the BT2, put a shot in him, but since the shell velocity is so slow on these guns, I not keep angles as armor, so I can't do it. So I suffer from a bit of lag there, so I don't get the lower plate shot. But I'm worried about this cap, so I come down, hoping I can kill this BT2. Boo, yeah! And then I load high explosives, because I know how weak his armor is. Boom, 111 damage. He is very newbie to this game, so he doesn't really know how to play. He's fine high explosive, but it doesn't really matter. So anyway, this Panzer II now, he's the last one alive. I know he can easily kill me. So I'm trying to back away and get into some cover, but then he kills our cruiser 3, so now I'm getting a little bit more worried. Um, yeah, so now I'm debating on where to go, so I decide, yeah, you know what, I need to cap. So that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully he's gonna pop out so he can show me his lower plate so I can slam a shot into that weak lower plate of his. However, he doesn't seem to want to do that right now, so I'm coming over here to try and take some cover behind this boulder thingy. Because I really don't want to die here, because I'm really trying to get a replay out for you guys for this review. So, yeah. Anyway, so popping out again. He now gets a nice shot from a low tracker, or yeah, somebody else. And I really should have loaded high explosive for this shot, because I would have been able to get a top gun, but just want to be right, guys. So anyway, that's the 2 games, and let's take a look at the post-game stats before I end this video. All right. Okay, so let's get a defender, 577 damage, not bad, really. Finished top of my team by damage done, I believe. So that was the end of this review, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And please do enjoy your Saturday morning, actually afternoon now, and catch you next time, alright?